Welcome to episode 34 of Pineapples and Thorns. Hey, Peter, Beto, welcome to the show. Welcome back.
Hello, Kat. Thanks very much.
And we have a very special guest with us tonight, Under the Blood, co-leader at Redthorn. Welcome, UTV.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Glad to have you here. It's been a long time that we should have had you on, so glad you were able to make it.
It's been great being in Redthorn, so I'm honored.
Awesome. We're just going to jump into a little bit of CFF Clash news. Peter, you want to bring us up to speed?
Yes, I sure do. Our first thing, and it's something that's upcoming, is Beat the Heat. Kat and I are organizing this one. It's a Town Hall 12, 13, and 14 mixer event. Try to, keep the summer blahs away, so we are asking that you use 2 ice golems in your first attack, an ice hound in your second attack, a free spell in both attacks, and it's just going to be a friendly war. Just kind of show off what you got and, meet some new people. So that one is coming up July 22nd and 23rd. It'll be a 12-hour prep and a 24-hour war. Hoping to get someone to stream it. We haven't quite confirmed that yet, but everybody's busy in the summer.
That's for sure. What else have we got coming up?
Don't forget about C2J's Legend League push for August. So if you have ever had any interest in pushing in Legends, August is the month. And then we're all going to get together into one clan. Knob and Arrow want to try to be top of Australia, so we're all going to jump into a clan, move the home to Australia and see how high we can push. And then we're going to, I believe we're going to push the button on a 50v, random spin and just for fun. See how we do. So, Legend League push for August. And SCWL just finished. Actually, I want to talk about the Town Hall 9 Royal Rumble first. Our very own Kat, and I left all my notes downstairs, but our very own Kat drew number 12. Were you 12?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And managed to beat Tony and then hold on for a best of 3 against Apple to become the CFF Town Hall 9 champion. Congratulations.
Thank you. It was a lot of fun. Those little tournaments are just great to be part of, and kudos to Bass and Baker for putting that together.
Yes, it was a lot of fun. There was 13 of us this time. I actually had a Town Hall 9 in there this time. I lost by 2 seconds to Sky, but it was a lot of fun. The Town Hall 8 champion, Mr. Happy Store, had a very good run at the beginning. He was looking very strong. He won, I think, 4 in a row. And then no one really had the lead for very long after that. A couple of wins in a row and then lose. And Miss P was there. She got to throw some hogs at people. Ink was there. So yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So Town Hall 10 is coming up 1 month from today. They actually haven't officially posted the date, but if you have a Town Hall 10 and think you have what it takes to beat everybody in the CFF, sign up. Well, sign up when signups hit.
Exactly.
Now we can talk about SCWL.
Do we want to talk about it?
Well, we probably don't. That's why I thought I'd leave it to last. Poor old Redthorn and poor old TGF Rising both got booted out of champs. It's become a real struggle. The bases are great. 2 stars win mores, and I really firmly believe that. But even in Redthorn, we 2-starred a bunch of times. And we know we'd get beaten 36, 33 or something like that. So there's some good clans out there.
Really, really good clans.
We'll talk a little bit more about SCWL a little later in the show. Oh, and the last thing, and it wasn't on the agenda, so I'm going to just throw this in there. I think we've officially agreed on ClashCon 2023 to meet up in Nashville.
Nice.
It'll be in the early part of the summer, maybe late spring. So keep your eyes peeled. We'll keep talking about it, but I think we finally settled on Nashville as kind of a central location. And then we'll try to get everybody there. Yes. Okay.
All right. Let's welcome UTV.
Yeah.
UTV. Glad to have you here again. Why don't you give our listeners a little bit of your Clash history, how you started playing, and what town halls you play?
So I started when Town Hall 10 was the max Town Hall. So I don't even know how long ago that was. Many moons. And obviously, started at Town Hall 1 like everybody, and enjoyed lower town halls and wasn't really a dedicated player, but every once in a while played my way through to about Town Hall 8, and then realized, or I guess it's Town Hall 7 when you get your Barbarian King. And for some reason, the hero just really, like, I don't know, catalyzed the game for me, and I got really into it, and then realized there was another hero, and just kind of spiraled from there. So I've played every Town Hall, and currently have a 13 and 14, max 14 for a long time, and almost max 13 that was actually my wife's account that I kind of took over. And because I at one time had, I believe the count was up to 8 accounts.
Wow.
And I think I've heard of quite a few people having a lot of accounts. I don't know if many people have had more than 5 though, and I had a lot. What I wanted was to have one at each Town Hall level during CWL Champions War League,
Yes.
which we'll talk about a little later, and also to have like backups to bring with me to various clans, to have donations. So if I had 3 warring accounts, I wanted 3 backup accounts, and then I just kind of picked up a couple along the way, whatever, boredom, start a new account. So you could say I kind of got deep in the rabbit hole for a while, and kind of found my way out of it, and was down to just my one, in fact. My wife had one that she kind of just played to, be a good wife and to be into what I was into, but didn't really play it a lot. And so eventually I took that over as my donation account that I have now, and is now a near max 13.
Awesome. So your experience in Clash of Clans, has it been mostly casual from the get-go, or did you jump into league style play right away?
Well, I started actually because I was a youth leader at my church, and all the kids were playing it. And so I was like, oh, I got to play this with them. And so I downloaded the game and started playing it. And of course, they were mocking me in my Town Hall 1 and 2 and 3 and whatever. And eventually, got into their clan once you could join a clan, which isn't right away. And just kind of played with them a little bit, but they were a super casual clan. They only had like 20 people, and they only warred maybe once a week. And so it was still really casual at that point. But as the youth group grew, I kind of, got others involved, and we got up to 30, 40. We started doing kind of back-to-back wars. So it kind of ramped from casual to semi-serious in that clan. And then eventually I left and joined, I don't know what you call them, like a more serious but not professional clan that was a Hawkeye clan. I'm from Iowa, and the big college, or my favorite college here, is the Iowa Hawkeyes. And so I joined a clan full of Iowa Hawkeyes, and played a bunch of kind of semi-serious war at Town Halls 9 and 10. And then eventually got sick of people missing attacks and donations not happening and all that kind of stuff, and kind of started feeling my way around for more professional, or whatever you want to call it, competitive clans, and got into some of the more competitive clans that played tournaments and leagues, and really fell in love with that style of play. Unfortunately, kind of leaving behind my youth group kids, but I still, with all the accounts, I kind of left one behind there with them, and still got a chance to do that part too.
Nice. So you talk about some of the leagues that you've come through, and you mentioned CWL. Do you have any memories that leap out for you about that?
What did you say, memories?
Yeah.
Yeah,
good or
of
bad,
course.
yes.
Yeah, both. I played in MLCW, CWL, No Dip, or NDL. I pretty much did what I felt like was all of them back then.
Mm-hmm.
They're still fairly informal, and you could just do as many as you wanted to do. And so it was something that I filled my time with, when I was younger, single guy, and then eventually I met my wife, and it kind of started trailing off a little bit. But for a while there, I was, my pastime, I didn't really play PlayStation or do a lot of other stuff. I was a youth leader. I played guitar, and I played Clash. So I did quite a lot, and I really enjoyed it. I liked the format, and the competitiveness, and the high level of play, seeing people do things that just I didn't understand were even possible, and attack compositions and stuff that just blew my mind. And it was really cool to just be amongst a lot of really great players. And I mean, I was just a moderate player, I feel like, and had kind of what I consider myself to be now a one-trick pony designation even then. And I was basically a bow witch player, which has been kind of eradicated in recent town halls.
Mhm.
But Bowler Witch and Queen Charge Bowler Witch and anything with bowlers, just all bowlers. I just was for some reason just a huge fan of the bowler troop and played a ton of that. I did do a little bit of Lalo and Falcon and stuff, but it always came back to bowlers for me. And so I did a ton of that and was pretty tough with it, and got to compete at some pretty high levels. We didn't play in, I'm trying to remember what it's called now, the top division of CWL, but
Invite.
yes, we weren't an invite, but I made it to, I believe, the one right below that, or possibly one notch lower. But that was still super competitive and super intense, and it was just cool. The leaders of those clans were really involved, and it was a lot of work. Eventually, I became one myself at Red Elefino, and worked with a bunch of really great players. Had one of the best Lalo players I've ever seen using Precision Lalo, Queen Charge Precision Lalo at Town Hall 10. When Town Hall 11 was out, was basically the peak of the game, in my opinion, as far as difficulty. And watching him dissect these bases was just like, I mean, it was awe-inspiring. So I think I have mostly positive memories of the former tournament structures and leagues before Supercell decided to make their own.
That's awesome. You have a very neat Clash name. You want to tell us a little bit about it? What inspired that particular name for your account?
Yeah. So I, as I've alluded to or mentioned specifically, I was a youth leader at my church, and so that's a big part of my life. I'm a Christian, and so what it specifically means is under the blood of Jesus. Is how I stand, or how I live. So I just wanted to allude to that while also having something that sounded kind of tough and war-y or whatever. And so kind of achieved both of those with that terminology. It's something that's mentioned in a couple worship songs, and I was a worship leader. And so, a phrase I liked, and
Nice.
also kind of just grew into a nice little nickname, UTB, as so many people know me now.
Yeah, just rolls off the tongue.
It does. And it's I never intended it to be that way, but under the blood doesn't really. So
True.
so it kind of it works that way. But I'm also glad that people are interested in the name, and that's kind of the point.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I do have to publicly apologize for spelling your name wrong on the poster for the Battlethorn Award.
Yes, Magnus has enjoyed it so much though that I could never want it to be taken back.
Yeah, I had no way to edit it. I had to go to the person who created that particular bit of software to fix it, and it took him months because he was busy in college. So
yeah,
so I
such
do
a minor
apologize.
detail and so unimportant. I appreciate your you're caring about it, but I was really, that's one of the things that stuck out to me. Obviously it's not a huge deal, but I thought that was pretty cool that Red Thorn took the time to honor somebody after each war. In fact, that's kind of what I was for Red Elefino. I did a lot of stuff, but I also was kind of the hype man. So I did a recap of every war and posted it on Discord, breaking down statistics, MVP offensive, MVP defensive, just like, a little breakdown of, the flow of the war, were there any flourishes of activity? Did it come down to one big defense or one big attack or whatever? And so I was the one studying the battle log at the end of the day and watching some replays and, seeing, what the highlights and lowlights were. And so I feel like the Battlethorn's kind of, a nice minor version of that.
Yeah, it's something fun that we started doing back at the very beginning of Red Thorn, and it's just a little nice extra thing that we like to do for people.
Yeah,
It's fun, and it's fun to see people pick.
always good to recognize somebody, and so
Mm.
especially newer players in the clan, or even not, just feeling like they got noticed, because sometimes it can get a
Exactly.
little quiet in there or whatever, and it's nice that somebody else recognized it.
For sure. So what's your favorite town hall to play these days?
Well, I only play 2 right now, but and I feel like that's one thing that Supercell should try to do. I'm not exactly sure how, but to make it more interesting to play some of the lower town halls, because it seems like they kind of get super, like, offense becomes super overpowered for every town
Mhm.
hall as they advance,
Yes.
to where it's very difficult to really have competition, at Town Hall 9. Like, I'm wondering how that Royal Rumble worked. Like, were there any non 3 stars?
Yes, in fact, there
Yeah.
were several 1 stars.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
don't
and
want
I wasn't even in that war.
Oh, well, then how did that happen?
to. One guy, he had his Queen Charge die early, and just to a toxic CC headhunters, and so that took down his queen, and she was destined for the town hall. Right, it was on the edge, and everything else pathed away from it, and just wasn't enough. It was a high percentage, right? 92,
Mhm.
maybe 88,
Yeah.
something like that, but never got the town hall. And then we had a couple, actually. We had a 69 1 star.
Mhm.
Nice.
There's a
Well, I guess-
68.
Again, just stuff got dropped wrong. Oh, you know what
Yeah,
allowed
and
his
there's
queen
no
to die was a
sieges.
rage in the grass. Yeah.
At Town Hall 9s, there's no sieges, so that's a huge difference.
You're right.
Right.
But you still have to fight headhunters.
Right.
Headhunters and occasionally super minions.
Oh, yeah.
We won't talk about that.
So what I was, oh yeah, my favorite town hall. So, I honestly, for me, it's just basically whatever the latest is all the time, because I feel like Supercell's done a great job of giving the next town hall a good experience, and kind of focusing their efforts there to where that's what you want to play and that's what you want to achieve is maxing out the current set of troops and buildings and whatever. So right now for me it's Town Hall 14, and it's the one I've had the most fun with throughout my time, because I really love the pets. I think that's a big addition, and allows for a lot of new interesting twists that I'll never do because I'm a one-trick pony. But naked hero charges, with the unicorn, or with the ram, or the owl or whatever, can come up with a lot more damage or some interesting twists that are really fun for me to watch other people do. But no, I've really enjoyed 14.
I mean, imagine calling yourself a one-trick pony when your one trick is like,
Three star.
having a hit rate that he has. You know what I mean?
Well, I guess I just trained my pony really well, and
That's right.
Good pony.
So, out of all the town halls you played, because you said you played them all, were there any that you played that you found a particular struggle? Like whether it was just the defenses were too strong and you couldn't come up with a comp, or was it too grindy?
Well, back in CWL days, I was an 11, and I found, my specialty, no shame in it, was dips. And so I mostly hit Town Hall 10s, because 11v11 was also really, really tough.
Mhm.
And basically the people that hit with regularity and 3-starred were experts at Lalo, or experts at a strategy other than Bow Witch, which is not what I did. And so, that was kind of a time when I was like, I wish I could do that, and I worked on it, but I just never was able to really achieve. Of course, I got a couple, but we need a triple on this 11. I'm not the guy they're choosing,
Right, yeah.
So yeah, 11 was kind of tricky, but honestly, once Sieges came out, I was able to really manipulate my chosen comp to work with those, and was able to find a high rate of 3-star at pretty much everything from 12 up. 10 and 9 I did pretty well at too, but 10 was tricky as well. I feel like older days, it was just a tougher game. I don't know if it's Sieges or hero levels or what, but there was just a lower rate of 3-stars just in general.
Yeah,
good point.
where I came from, some of the guys who are late in CWL war 11v11 hitters, like at least a couple of them went on to become pros. So like those skills really translated, and the talent was there all along. Like, and it was kind of crazy watching them hit at the end of wars, and with all that pressure on them. And we weren't invite, whatever level we were at. I can't even remember the tiers now, but those guys were good. Those guys were still good. It was a sight to behold.
Yeah. Yeah. Late 11v11 CWL hits were just as interesting as the earlier in the war 10v10s. Because they were it was just so much more complicated. I mean, it was just such a bigger map compared to 10. You're like, wow, there's so much more ground to cover. And, you had the enemy warden and the Eagle. The Eagle was so intimidating when it first came out, and
Yes.
it did so much damage. Everyone was trying to, kill squad it and, do all kinds of things to try to get it out early, and it wouldn't work. And then the whole attack shot, so it was an interesting time. I feel like it was kind of the pinnacle of like balance, was right at 11.
Yeah, I have to agree with you there. Let's talk about your favorite army comp. People want to know the history of it, what you're using right now, why are you using it, and why you chose it.
Sure. So, for anyone that's seen me play, they should know I use Queen Charge Hybrid. I just really, first of all, just love ground. I've enjoyed air over the years. I'm not ashamed to say that I used E-Drags. And
Right.
they're pretty powerful when you do it right, but they're definitely spammy. And, I'm kind of, hybrid, I guess you could say, is kind of spammy too, but it's a little more strategic. And I've also used, Dragloon, was one of my number one techniques for hitting Town Hall 10s. But when I'm going equal Town Hall, I'm pretty much always going to try to go ground. And, for probably the whole first half of my Clash experience, it was Bowler Witch, as soon as I had bowlers. Before that, I did a lot of Mass Hog. And I think that kind of lends itself to why hybrid was so interesting to me, because the miner came out, and to tell you the truth, I didn't cook a miner for the first 2 years it was in the game.
Wow.
And that's so crazy. I can't even believe that, saying it, with how often I use hybrid now, that I didn't even touch a miner. And then at the last clan I was at, it's called Sack Kings Elite. And it was, a great clan in their own right. But one of the leaders there, his name was Scorch. He's like, why don't you try hybrid? Because I was still running Bull Witch, and I was like, well, it's kind of the same, and for some reason it just clicked, and I was able to still do queen charges, which I think is really the core of my game. If I can queen charge, I'm probably going to enjoy it. And I don't know, if that's weak or whatever to like lean on a queen charge all the time, but I feel like it's such a fun part of the game to dissect your way through with the queen that, it is worth doing in almost any strategy. And so I tried it out, and what do you know, it had a higher hit rate, and I was having more fun than I was with Bow Witch, and eventually, figured out that, the bowlers were just too fragile with things like the scatter shot coming around, that, and the miners, going underground, getting out of the damage's way and avoiding the town hall bomb, which is a really big deal.
Yeah.
That was a pretty big deal. So, I just naturally slid over to hybrid, and, I don't know what it is. I'm good at bending bases to that strategy. I guess I'm better at bending bases to that strategy than bending a base to different strategies.
So I know this wasn't on the agenda, UTB, but I feel like I have to ask this question. So the Queen Charge hybrid, the opener is the Queen Charge, right? Has that ever, if you feel like if you're a one-trick pony, have you ever thought, well, I am good with the Queen Charge, why don't just to shake it up? And this is definitely not me suggesting it, because far be it from me to do that to someone with your hit rate, to be like, well, if it ever feels boring, I can always do Queen Charge Drag Rider. I can always do Queen Charge Lalo. I can do Queen Charge this or that. Does that ever cross your mind?
Oh, absolutely. That's a great question. I mean, like I said, I said it myself. If I can Queen Charge, I'm probably going to have fun with it. And I've done Queen Charge Lalo. I like it, but I'm just not nearly as good at it. Timing haste spells and things are just way trickier. But the Dragon Rider, and when that first started coming out, I watched a lot of people use it, and I'm like, man, this is kind of like air hybrid. And I've heard people call it that. And
Skybrid, right? Yeah.
yeah, Skybrid. Yeah, that's the term I've heard. And so I've definitely considered running some Skybrid, and I've done it, but I just didn't, I didn't commit to learning it thoroughly enough, I don't think. And also, it lends itself to the blimp for getting the town hall, which was kind of another wrinkle. It's kind of like a 3-layer attack versus a 2-layer attack that Queen Charge Hybrid is. With the Queen Charge essentially going for the town hall in almost every instance, and then the siege being support for the army, whereas in Dragon Rider, a lot of the time you have Queen Charge to go after strategic targets, Dragon Rider for the bulk of the base, and then a siege for the town hall. And maybe that's just an indicator of my simple mind, but that 3rd layer maybe was just more difficult for me to manage, or just didn't learn it well enough.
Gotcha.
When you're looking at a base for hybrid, what are you looking for? Anything specific? Can you walk us through it?
Yeah, definitely looking for specific things. I really love the siege. No, what's it called? It's escaping my mind right now. The flame flinger.
Yes.
With hybrid, which is, I'm surprised because my one trick pony is a siege barracks with my hybrid, and I did that very successfully for many moons. And then when the flame flinger came out, I kind of laughed about it and didn't think it was that great. But then I saw how destructive it was and how it was taking out like half of bases sometimes. I'm like, well, I better give this a try. And so now I've shifted and I've seen the effectiveness of that. So what I'm looking for is there a place I can get a high value target, Eagle, an Inferno, or a Scatter with the flame flinger, and in such a way that it can keep working the whole time I'm charging. And that's essentially my requisite. That's my number one requisite for choosing a base. And I can do that in a number of ways. I can do it by taking out a mortar or an archer tower or a cannon or whatever it is on the corner or the side that I'm trying to get that strategic target, whether with balloons or baby dragon loon or something like that, that allows me to then let the siege work for a long time. Or the flame flinger work for a long time. If that's not there, then I kind of flip back to the older mentality of having to use the siege barracks, which definitely works for a lot more bases. Even bases set up to completely stop the flame flinger, I can still siege barracks. So when I hit that map where everybody's got new bases adjusted for the flinger, I can still siege barracks. And then I'm basically just looking for, can I charge the town hall? Is it multi-layer deep? How difficult's the charge? Do I have to adjust my army comp? I'm trying not to adjust my army comp. So that's what I'm trying to do is, can I charge it simple enough to where I can leave all my spells and troops with what I'm familiar with? Great. And if I get through all those layers and I have to start adjusting the comp, then I will. But thankfully, I just don't get that deep very often.
Did you get affected by the flame flinger nerf? Did you notice a difference even?
To tell you the truth, no. It hasn't affected anything about what I'm doing, and I haven't really noticed a big change in outcomes.
Yeah.
Do you remember exactly what happened? What the change was?
Smaller burst damage, less damage initially, but a longer burn time. Yeah. So we talked about this last podcast that it's opening up walls that we weren't expecting them to open before, but it hasn't always been a detriment. Now that we know that this can happen, it actually seems better. Flame Flinger can drive itself inside. So yeah, we're not even sure it's a nerf, to be honest.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I use it a lot, and I just find it's opening up more the base. I haven't noticed a huge impact on any of the attacks that I've been doing. So
good.
Yeah.
So UTB, we all go to places to learn different techniques and things like that. Do you follow any particular Clash content creator, or do you use particular resources?
I have followed many over the years. For the longest time, I was the daily Galadon viewer.
Okay.
Maybe more for entertainment than education, which I think we all know if you've watched his videos. He's a good guy. He's a decent attacker, and he finds himself in amazingly high company because of his position in the world. But he's interesting and fun to watch. But I stopped watching him, maybe a year and a half or two ago. Just I don't know. He got so many different threads and series is going. It was just a little too much for me to want to be interested in. But like educationally and technique wise, definitely Itsu and Carbon Fin have been guys that I've learned a lot from. I used to be a daily Itsu watcher, but he just kind of got, I don't know, he like got down in the dumps and, was getting bummed with his day job or whatever. And
Yeah.
so I don't know. I just stopped daily watching him. And honestly, there's not a whole lot I need to learn to keep running hybrid effectively at this point. So I just haven't really felt the need to plug into any educational stuff recently, but I still pop them on every once in a while when, an update happens and there's a new troop, or I like hearing them talk about the balancing changes, things like that.
Yeah, it's really interesting. There was like a point of demarcation in like Clash of Clans YouTube where once Friendly Wars were brought into the game, the seemed like the Clash videos I had been watching were mostly around, things like Jake, people like that. There weren't many recaps. It was mostly, here's how you do this. I'm sure there were like one Hive recaps, but he was always walking you through the thinking behind the stuff. And once Friendly Wars came in, now it's more recappy. There isn't as much. Here's how you do this here, and I don't. Maybe there are here's how you do this or tutorial type channels out there, but it really, it's completely shifted to recaps now.
And I think it's kind of coming back a little bit because recently Carbon Fin has started putting stuff out on Twitter and YouTube about how to break down bases for certain attacks. And he is explaining pathing and things like that, which I really enjoy watching.
Yeah, who's this guy now?
Carbon Fin? Yeah.
Okay, I'll have
you may have heard of him.
So Carbon Fin. Okay, I'll write that down and have
like
a look.
the fish.
And Big Vale's still doing his breakdown things, his 12, 20, 15-minute videos where he, talks through the attack first.
Yes, he does.
Now he's doing very exotic things at the moment, which I am not trying to duplicate. So I think his last one was Queen Charge Lalo, and I watch it, but I'm not trying it again. Sorry, Ink.
That was a bit of a nightmare for you, I think.
Which brings us right to, what do you say to people who think the game is too hard, UTB? I mean, I'm not putting any pressure on you. I'm not trying to puff you up too much, but you do have a good hit rate with hybrid. I think you probably pick bases that you think will work. What do you say to people who say it is too hard to triple right now?
Well, clearly, I think I've been doing it for so long that I'm a good charger, and that's the hard part of hybrid. It's not hard to drop hogs and miners, on the section of base you left behind. That's not hard at all. Spell timing and placement, Galadon will preach it all day. That's a huge part of a person's ability to 3-star, but it's all about the charge, and that's the really intricate timing based thing that it's just, I'm like 8 years in of queen charging, so these people can't expect to start doing a new process if they've been spamming or they've been kill squatting or e-dragging or draglooning or anything like that, and then they expect to start queen charge attacking with any success. They're joking themselves. It's an art to queen charge effectively. So that's I think the biggest problem is queen charge is not easy. It takes a lot of practice and it takes a lot of patience. And it takes the ability to sit there and look at a base and think 5 steps ahead. Okay, queen's going to go there, 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 there. I'm going to break there. I'm going to spell there. That is way beyond the patience level of a lot of people. So then they're all frustrated that, the stupid wall breaker or the stupid queen. And I'm like, no, it's the stupid player, and, just to get spicy. No, it's not, and they're not stupid, but they're just not willing to, put in the time to learn that art effectively enough. Kind of like Queen Charge Lalo, I'm going to give those guys props all day. Yeah. They've got the hard part with the queen and then also the hard part with the army.
Yeah.
So, I just chose one that has an easy army, I feel like, but the charge is still hard. No, I think the balance is good overall.
Are you playing with your 14 in Legends?
I am staying in Legends because I like having my UTB vanity base up, and the only way I can do that is to not get my home base attacked. So I do enough to stay in Legend, and that's because I've been saying it for a long time. Legend is pointless. It's and not to kill anybody's buzz on it. It's great to compete against other people and try to push high in trophies, but you're never going to reach the very top because those guys are doing something different. And I'm not saying they're cheating, but they probably are. The ones getting up into the 64, 6500 range, it's just they're trading. They're doing something that's allowing them to make it there. I can't do it, or I'm unwilling to do it. So I'm never going to make it to the really top. So I just don't see the point in it. I can't do anything with my Legend trophies. It's just on my profile that nobody looks at. So I don't know. It's a way to stay, keep rust off. But that's really all I can see the value in now.
And that
Yeah.
doesn't create boredom for you, just having to queen charge regularly to stay in Legends. That's not monotonous for you.
Probably to a certain degree, yeah. But I kind of like the lower Legend. You see kind of a interesting variety of weird bases.
Yes.
Sometimes really bad, sometimes decent, but it's just interesting. Lower Legends is generally more interesting, I think. Also, the less pressure when I'm pushing. I have to get the attacks in. I feel like I have to use potions or gems to get my attacks in each day, and obviously Supercell knows what they're doing there.
Mhm.
And but then I also see the value in that, like going up against Agent Paladin and all these great attackers from CFF in the Legend League push that they do was super fun. I did it for several months in a row, but then one day I was just like, I don't know, I'm right there in the top 3 almost every month, but I just don't see the value outside of that.
Okay.
If I wasn't max, I would definitely see the value.
Right. It used to be we could hold on to our loot by staying in Legends, right? But now there's no loot even to be lost building an army, so it's
Right.
changing.
Yeah, for sure. So let's move on to a few sort of fun topics here. Question for you, UTB. If you could be any troop in the game, what would it be and why?
Troop or heroes included?
Sure.
I think I would be the Warden, because of the health boost he gives to everybody and the ability to protect everybody simultaneously. I think his ability is probably the most powerful.
So on Clan Capital, what do you see Supercell trying to achieve with it?
I'm going to try to keep it PG-13 with my language. No, I think that they clearly spend a lot of time on art. It's very well polished. It's very bug free. If you can't tell, I'm getting the positives out first. No, it's fun to a certain degree, and I see what they are trying to do in uniting clans and giving a unified goal. There's no doubt that that's the message, and message received and achieved. But is it what people play Clash of Clans for? Not this person. I love the clan based unity of donations and base evaluation and friendly challenging and all that kind of stuff. But it's not. I don't think it's that. I don't think it's what I was looking for with an update from them. And I think really what they're trying to do is just engage a younger market, which is smart for them for longevity purposes. But and it looks and feels a little bit like a game made to be accessible and attractive to people my son's age, who's 14, who might think Clash of Clans is nerdy and too difficult and to succeed at, which I can understand. He does feel that way. But then the Clan Capital comes along, he can use all the troops, and he can do see these big intricate bases and take a big bite out of them, and so I see what they're trying to do, but it just isn't appealing to me.
Right.
Let's talk about Peter's favorite topic here, SCCWL. Do you think it's good as it is, or do they need to change or fix anything?
And have you noticed there's been changes recently? Like ever since we went to that 5-day war that one time, and now do you find the competition is different? Like it seems harder in champs?
Yeah, I mean it certainly seems to be difficult to remain in champs. We've got a plethora of great attackers. And I think that maybe our specific problems are with the necessity to split up due to the 15-man cap in champs. Which leads to other topics about capacity. But if we could run a 30-man war or a person war and, keep our primary clan together, I think we could easily stay in Champs 3. But the ability to split our, forces and try to keep 2 in Champs 3, I think is tricky. But, I think Supercell CWL, which is kind of funny that they decided to name it the same as the
Most
largest
popular,
tournament, and it's like, what are they doing? What are you thinking? Why? And they just stole it. They straight up stole it, and it's kind of still annoying to me that it exists. And I'm really glad that you guys call it SCCWL, because it's not just CWL.
Amen.
But either way, SCCWL, sure they stole it, but I really like the overall format of it and the one attack a day. It puts a little more pressure on that one attack. There's no scouting, which is a big part of regular war. It kind of opens up the door for troll bases and things to actually be viable. And trick clan castles and stuff like that. Though I don't think that really surfaces a lot. As much as maybe they thought it would. I think it just comes down to really solid bases and really solid attacks being what determines winners and losers. And like you said early on, 2 stars win wars, and that's definitely true. I've played in C2 and C1, and at C2 and above, it's 3 stars that win wars. But at C3, all you really need is 2 stars, I think, typically to win wars. But lately, like you said, it seems like maybe that's not enough.
Yeah, you need at least. It seemed like we needed at least 6 a war to have a chance to win.
Yeah, and that's a lot.
It is.
All right, builder base, fix it or ditch it.
I don't know. I feel like it's kind of the same thing. It was just their first attempt at engaging a new market to their game, and I think it really clearly failed. There's no debating that. But they've given up on it themselves, so I think that it's an interesting idea. The whole night-based stuff was coming out, and it was a huge deal when all that stuff was being teased, and then it came out, and they're like, wait a minute. So everyone assumed, and it comes back to the core problem, that it was a big enhancement or twist or change to Home Village that we all love, and nope, it was a whole different game that is really, really different. And so I don't know. It's a swing. I mean, I think it's like a double. It's obviously made them some money. Some people played it. They put some things in it that make it worth playing, like the 6th builder primarily for me. But other than that, I mean, now I have the 6th builder on both accounts. I'm only just going over there to spend my loot and use it for clan games. That's basically it.
Yep, get your free 20 season points for getting a star.
Right, and
a
couple of free
doesn't even
gems.
have to be successful. That's
Right.
Right.
And the gem mine.
Yep.
Can't forget the gem.
Oh
mine.
yeah, don't take away Cat's gem mine.
Nope, not in the 6th builder. So, UTB, if you could ask Supercell to do one thing to the game right now, what would it be and why?
Probably ban my accounts. Oh,
Yeah,
sorry.
besides that.
You were asking him.
Maybe the short list, but one thing, no, honestly, it's been a problem in every successful clan I've been in. It shouldn't be capped at 50. I mean, it's simple.
Thank you.
There's no reason. There's really no reason. What is the reason, Supercell? Why? And I really don't. They can't tell you. There is no reason. I've worked in development at a web development company. Their game is more than able to handle 500-person clans. It's not even a question. So, why is it not 100 at minimum? There's no answer. It should happen as soon as possible.
Wow, you might be Cat's favorite person tonight.
Pretty much. What can I say after that? Would you like to see something like the Shrink Trap come back, or any of the special summer event troops from the past?
I don't know. I like the events. And like, for example, the spooky tree, I get rid of all crap on my base except the spooky tree. For some reason, I've enjoyed that one. I still have it on my Town Hall 13 and it'll never go away just so I can hear the stupid ghost sound from
Yes.
that OOP troop they had, the ghosts. I like the ghost. There it is, Fado. Fado, thank you. I like that troop. I like the Ice Wizard.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Most of the rest of them were kind of like, I can leave it. The Shrink Trap was interesting visually, but I mean, it was, I don't know. I can take everything. You can leave everything else except for the Ghost and the Ice Wizard.
That one legit cost me a 3-star one time. One of
Yeah,
my the rare 3 stars in the wild, I had it, and there go my hogs. They're the size of ants.
it's a little too powerful.
It was probably one of the most hated troops, or not troops, traps.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one thing that polarized everybody, I think.
Yeah, to one pole.
Hey.
So Town Hall 15, what would be on your wish list for that if and when it ever drops?
I think they've got a tall order in hand. Like they need to figure it out. Like, are they going to keep making town halls, or is there actually going to be an end at some point? Because if the model is to just keep making town halls, then the wish list is shorter. And because I don't want them to dump 1,000 things into one town hall and then there's nothing left for 16, you know? But if they plan to quote unquote end the game, or at least end the town hall progression, which I think they need to seriously consider, because like they have themselves appointed to and talk specifically about, it's very difficult for someone to start playing now and ever reach max, even with all the stuff they give you with Gold Pass and all that stuff. They need to have something like League of Legends or something like that where you can pay an amount to jump quite a bit ahead. If they plan to continue releasing town halls. So if 15 is the last town hall, which I think it would be really great for them to do, they should do. I think it's been like what every other town hall they have a new hero for a long time.
Yes.
And so technically, I guess we should want one at 15 then. And I think that might be cool to have 5 heroes, 5 pets, so another pet. I think it would be cool for the map size to expand again, so that if it's the last town hall, it's like the final frontier. It's like a big new battleground that's way different. And I don't mean different fundamentally. I mean different in that there's a lot of change between facing a 14 versus facing a 15. Like, for example, there needs to be modifications. Like, I need to be able to put there needs to be like 5 total modifications I can do from like 10 possible categories. Like, I should be able to put some kind of an adjustable piece on my walls that is like a slow trap or something like that. The walls slow them down or something like that, whatever like that. Or, the things like the geared up defenses, there needs to be something like that for all the defenses that changes it and makes base designing just like a whole new ball game, to where when you look at a base, you got to actually study it, so that when you 3-star a 15, it's like party time, man. It's you really conquered it. And I would love to see things like sinkholes in the ground, that open up, and like a sink trap or something like that, or
Cool.
just all kinds of I want there to be all kinds of stuff that's only at 15, is super crazy and tough and rough. And then also, of course, if that's going to be on defense, then they need to have maybe 2 brand new super tough and rough troops to go along with our new hero. 1 air and 1 ground. And I think, obviously a bunch of levels of stuff, but I think that they should call it quits at 15. They should make it super interesting and different and give us a lot of content, like a year solid of content. If somebody's racing and buying stuff and everything, they couldn't be done for a year. And then just once that's done, they have time. Once they drop that, then they have time to work on the end game, which is like, okay, what does a max everything player do? There needs to be something beyond clan-based tournaments, something like single-based tournaments, where you end up spinning yourself into like international tournaments through your own individual work. You know, your own.
Mhm.
You've earned your way into this position not because of your clan success, but because of your success. And you know, maybe you have to like pay an entrance fee of legend trophies or something. Or there could be a legend shop where you buy all kinds of different modifications and skins, and maybe some of those modular pieces in the base are only earned through legend trophies or whatever. You know, I've got a lot of ideas, but
Hang
they
on.
need to do something.
I'm calling Darian right now, telling him to get you out to Finland to work there.
Yeah, because I've been playing this game for a long time, and if they just pump out another grind session of 2 levels of defenses, an uninteresting hero, and you know, one new troop, and then you know, close the door and shut the light off, I'm just gonna uninstall. I'm not even gonna upgrade it. You know, it's just depressing at that point. But I think that they have more than enough ability and know-how to do what the things I'm talking about. I know I'm not going to get everything, but it'd be great for them to really shake it up in the home village.
Yeah, and I mean, even if that end game, like one of the things I think they're still missing out on is the ability for you to like have like a slider or something that says, "What town hall are you gonna fight this war in?" Like I'm a max 14, right?
Yeah.
Why can't I just be a max 12 and go fight in this war with my own account?
Dude, that's a good idea.
I thought 12 was a blast, but it's
Yeah,
not
I
my
really liked 12 too. Oh,
Yeah.
Bow Witch. I was a Bow Witch heaven at 12.
But you know, that's a very good point, because you know, one day you may be wanting to play as, you know, you've unlocked max 14, you've leveled everything up, but maybe you know, I'm really bored with 14 right now. I feel like playing as a Town Hall 10 this week. It's just like you say, set that bar, the selection bar, to your max 10 that you have built up and gone through on that account, and play it like that.
That's a really great end game opportunity, because then your whole clan could be like, we're going to do a 50v all 10s. You know,
Mhm.
that
Oh, yeah.
couldn't even exist. You know, you couldn't do that before. And
Yeah,
now you can.
It really opens up new possibilities for sure.
Right,
And-
right. And anything that keeps us off of getting the sinkhole and all those difficult things that UTB could figure out, but I couldn't, is good.
Yeah, I'm not sure I can handle a 5th hero. I already struggle keeping track of 4.
Oh gosh. So one thing that whole idea could lead into is that we do a lot of events in the CFF, and I know you participated in some of them. Is there anything that you would like to see done as far as events go in the CFF?
Oh boy, honestly, I think that the CFF, I've been in mini clan families. I think you guys are the pinnacle of event coordination and offerings. There's always an event going on from month to month. There's Legend League going on daily. There's Royal Rumble. There's Mini Mondays. I mean, I don't even participate in all these, and I know them because you guys do a good job of like, you know, moderately tagging people and, you know, nudging them but not overbearing them, and you know, and just, you know, the Clone Wars. I mean, we did a Trojan War. You know, I think that there's a really great variety and a great timing. Not so much that you're overwhelmed, but enough that you can bounce around and meet people. It just, no, I wouldn't change a thing about what CFF is doing, other than just keep doing it.
So do you have any favorite type of event? I know you've done everything from the more serious league sort of copycat kind of thing that we've done in the CFF, you know, where you do the little tournaments and it's very, you know, regimented. Or do you like the more fun events? Like, for example, Beat the Heat coming up. It's got like some fun ideas for you must include certain troops and.
It'll being the one trick pony I am, I'm not such a huge fan of the whole you must use this troop or that troop or the Clone War where you had to copy the other person's attack. You know, I think that's a very viable event and somebody might have loved it, but you know, it's just not my flavor. But I like, for some reason, my favorite thing is the Trojan War. I at my old clan family EYG, or Evolve Your Game, we did several Trojan Wars, and it was a lot of fun. I don't know. we had people like from the other clan try to come over and like talk to people and stuff and try to figure out like, you know, did you guys mean to spend the, you know, and we were just all just lapping it up and having a ton of fun. But that, I don't know. I think I like a lot of events where you can just play the game, you know, your way, but just with new people. Is kind of my thing. I've kind of grown a little, I don't know, intolerant of competitive play, like the more, you know, competitive tournament style play, just because of the pressure involved. I used to just eat it up, but it's less my speed these days. So, but anything where I can kind of get out and play with the other guys and gals from other clans, especially, is cool.
Awesome.
I pulled something off of Twitter that I saw there, and I wanted to do this here, even though our audience can't see what this is. It's a little chart with all various levels of the wizard towers, basically like from 1 to 14. So UTV, looking at this chart, which wizard tower level was your favorite and why?
That's a tough call. I think, you know, as I've said, as far as like being that I like Town Hall 14 the best, I kind of feel like every evolution of their theme has continued to get better. So I really like the level 14. I do think the level 12 and 13 look really good, the Town Hall 13 ones. But honestly, they just keep making them better. And when I first started playing the game, that was kind of one of the things that got me the most excited about updates was the new cosmetics for troops and, you know, heroes and, you know, all that kind of stuff. So I'd have to say the max one. Yeah.
Beto and Peter, how about you guys?
So I'll go first. I love the Town Hall 12 look, period. It seemed like the game really was clean looking, and I was too influenced by Rob, because Rob was like, you know, every new thing they do looks worse. And so Rob and UTB never crossed paths, and maybe that's a good thing. But you know, a lot of like, and it's crazy because you look at how far it's come. Like they had zap walls at Town Hall 10 at one point, and then they really figured out, well, we better start theming these things as we go ahead. And they at least they've done that. Like there's a unifying theme running through all of the defenses and the walls and the town halls now. And the things they do grow on you. So, you know, I respect the heck out of the work they do because they still have to make it look fresh. They have to figure out, well, how are we gonna weave this theme throughout, you know, all the defensive buildings we have.
Peter, how about you?
I think mine was that Town Hall 6 Wiz Tower when it was finally all pink, because that really fed into my idea of a progression. You know, you got that little bit of pink at level maybe 2. I can't quite see on my picture. And then it slowly got more and more pink. And I think level 6 was probably only Town Hall 7 or 8. So it's quite a while ago. I'm not really a nostalgic person, but I remember that feeling of, yes, I have fully maxed or fully colored in Wiz Towers. So
Yeah. When I look at this, I'm looking at going, like I look at Town Hall 7, and it's the last one without like the supports up the side.
oh yes,
And that is totally TH9. So yeah, I remember looking at that being like, wow, I've made it.
I made it. Yeah, that's right.
And now all I got to do is 50 levels of heroes now.
Yeah.
Okay, UTV, what was your most hated defense in the game, or what is, and most liked defense?
It's tough because obviously I have my own defenses that I hold dear to my heart. But when I am on offense, I think I disliked from back in the day the multi-target Inferno before you could heal through it is the pinnacle of defense. Because boy, I mean, the whole attack was shaped around where that they had that multi-Inferno, because the single, you know, you could just swarm it. And, you know, it was almost a joke. There was a time when 0 people had single target Infernos on any kind of a competitive war map because they were a complete waste of space. Yeah. Anything that had more than 8 troops, you know, unless you're doing all drags or, you know, whatever, you just, the singles were a joke. So seeing those multi-targets that you couldn't heal through. And then when that news broke that you could heal through it. Then I'm like, oh my god, the game's over.
The
Like,
game's broken. Yep.
and looking back now, years later, I'm like, well, I guess they figured it out for balancing purposes. It worked, but what a cataclysmic change! That defense was just earth shattering before, and I think so. So I think I'm going to say that's the same one for both. That's my favorite and my least favorite.
Fair enough. And the scenery randomizer. Do you use it?
Nope. I think it's terrible. I'm a big theming person, and like I theme everything I get. My phone has a very specific theme on it, and I'm just very visually structured. And so I didn't buy a scenery until the like slightly evolved Town Hall 14 one came out, the jungle one, just because it matched so much better with the new buildings. And then they started coming out with all kinds of them, and I'm like, well, that's kind of cool, but it's a little cheesy or whatever. I don't want a carnival at home all the time, whatever. And so, but then finally they came out with the dark scenery and the dark heroes, and they also had all of the matching available, and which is for some reason, like, why did they never have the rest of the heroes available as skeletons? Come on.
Right.
That's a good
I
question.
love the skeleton king. That they're crazy to not have all the rest of the skeletons. I would have had that a long time ago, but then I would have needed a Halloween map, to go along with it. So no, I don't like the randomizer. I do like some of the new skins that they're coming out with. I really, really hate a lot of the new skins they're coming out with. For example, the sunburnt heroes. I know some people like them, but I think that it is a huge mockery of the game.
You don't like the clockwork ones?
No.
Do you still buy a gold pass?
I haven't bought a gold pass in a few months.
Yeah.
I was buying them on my 13 really every month, and then I'd buy them on my 14 when I wanted the hero skins, and maybe another thing or something they were giving away. But now that I'm completely maxed on the 14, I'm really close on the 13. I've kind of been deciding whether or not I buy it based on the skin, and the last several skins have been below average in my opinion.
Yeah. Or
Point.
Supercell. I don't know. Hope they can get their act together. I'm not really sure what their goal is right now. They want everyone max, but I still don't know why.
Yeah.
I don't think they know what they're doing particularly either.
I think they're like those stock traders that are swimming in money, and they're like, is there a problem here?
Right.
Okay, last question. Pineapple on pizza, yes or no?
No.
No
No discussion.
One-word answer.
Yeah.
Nothing else needs to be said about that.
We're down to shout outs now then. UTB, do you have any shout outs you want to give?
Yes, I have to give a shout out to Peter for all of his Supercell CWL organization and preparation. And I know that many others have contributed to that recently. Magnus, I'm sure Kat's doing a lot as well. You guys do a lot, and I know it is a lot. I've previously organized leagues, and it's a reason I don't really, I kind of stayed out of leadership for a while, in the game, was because it's a lot of work and can kind of sap some of the fun out of it. So I appreciate a lot that you guys do so much to keep the fun rolling.
Thank you.
Beto, how about you?
It's going to be the same forevermore. It really is just a lot of gratitude for the people that surround me in my little Clash universe. I'm very grateful for Red Thorn and the CFF family.
Awesome. Peter?
I'm going to shout out Kat because she's the Town Hall 9 champ.
Woo-hoo.
Yep.
Yeah.
And thanks for coming on, UTB. That was really good. I never heard anyone else say cap the Town Hall levels. I had my mouth open. I had to snap my jaw shut. Well, quietly so no one else could hear. But that's a really, really interesting idea. So yeah, thanks for sharing that with us.
Yeah. No, it's been a blast. Thank you guys for being interested and for having me on.
Our pleasure. Yeah, my shout out, I wanted to shout you out, UTB, and thank you for coming on. And I also wanted to shout out Bass and Baker for continuing to give us the Royal Rumble tournaments every month. Look forward to seeing Town Hall 10 next month, but I don't have a 10, unfortunately, so to cheer from the sidelines for everybody. And does anybody here have any shade outs?
Yeah, whoever added the shrink trap into this week's agenda, you get my shade.
Oh, sorry. UTV, do you have any shade outs? You don't have to, but you are.
Yes, the person that made the Sunburn Heroes. Just that's all I need to know. I just need to know a name. That's all.
Peter?
And mine is for my pal Inc. for bringing Super Minion CC to Town Hall 9 tournament when you can't have Super Minions in the CC for like a month now. So he's been hoarding those just to make sure he got somebody good. So
He certainly did.
That's epic.
That was a collective gasp for everybody when they saw those come out of his defensive CC. I don't have any major shade outs. I couldn't think of anybody to shade out this week, so I'm just gonna.
That's too nice.
She's too nice because she could have shaded out all her Town Hall 9 competition.
Okay, I do have one shade out.
To the person that said sorry in our Discord on July the 1st.
No. I'm gonna shade out some of the SCCWO clans we were up against because they kicked our butts. So
they did kick our butts.
Yeah. So that's my shade out. So thank you everybody for listening tonight. The CFF is a family of clans in games such as Clash of Clans, Clash Royale, and many of the other Supercell games. We love to provide content via podcasts and other media. You can visit the Clash Files Discord to apply to any of our clans or to support our pods and events. As always, please send us your comments, ideas, and questions on Twitter at RedthornCOC or join the Clash Files Discord at discord.gg/ClashFiles.